TF-CBT, since starting here, I started here, I guess, almost 5 years ago. And since I've started TF-CBT, it's been the most productive, amazing treatment that I've practiced here. It works. Where before it was, I was working with all these kids that have been sexually abused and have experienced all this trauma, and I never really felt like I was really getting anywhere. We would talk about it, I felt like we went round and round, but I never saw any true progress. With TF-CBT, these kids are making progress, not only, before the end of treatment, but in the first 5 weeks, they're making significant progress. Yeah, I had this one kid, he was, matter of fact, they are finishing treatment next week. He was 7 years old when he started. He came for a forensic interview. And during that initial forensic interview, the poor kid, he couldn't get through it. He cried through the whole thing. He was overly emotional. He couldn't make the outcry. He just couldn't talk about what had happened to him. He had been sexually abused by his older stepbrother. Well, the very first time that I saw him for counseling, he came in and he just sat in my office and he just cried. And I started TF-CBT, and we just talked about what is counseling, what's the purpose. And as I told him about what we were going to do, I could tell he just eased up. Throughout the process, throughout the treatment and seeing him, he's gone from this kid that could not talk about what was going on, couldn't talk about the sexual abuse, couldn't talk about what he was feeling without becoming overwhelmed with his emotions and tearful, to he can sit there and talk about it, and he's like, okay, this happened and I'm okay. Matter of fact, when we were doing the trauma narrative, when he first started the trauma narrative, when we were checking in with his feelings, he started out and he was really nervous. And then once we got through the end, the third check-in, when I asked him, okay, what feeling are you feeling, and where on the scale are you? And he was like, well, I feel confident. I'm at a 10. And so just seeing him go from couldn't talk about it at all to I just did this and I'm good and I'm okay was truly amazing.